Here I am in the Microsoft app called Power Automate. It can be found in your app's waffle. If you don't find it listed or pinned in yours, you can always scroll down to the bottom where it shows more apps. For the form I created, I'm going to create a new automation or flow. I'm going to create one from scratch because I find that sometimes the ones that are pre-made are a bit more complicated than I need. Don't worry, you won't be on your own. We're going to use AI to help us build it, so you won't need to be an expert automator. I'm going to select Automated Cloud Flow. From there, the pop-up asks me when I want this flow to be triggered, which is to say, when do I want this automation to run? I'm going to select when a form response is received. That way, anytime someone answers my form the way I'm requesting, I'll get a notification. In the center is the start of my automation or flow. So far, I have only told Power Automate that I want a flow to start when I receive a form submission. You'll also note that Microsoft's AI called Copilot is open on the side pane here. Just like Google, AI is only as accurate as the query you put into it. So if you are not happy with the results you get, try tweaking your question. Here I told Copilot what I wanted. When a new response is submitted, get the responses. If the answer to a question is no, send an email. This is the outline that Copilot produced for me. I can see a small error here. It is sending the message if my answer is true, but I want it to send the message if my answer is false. That's okay. I'm just going to delete that from here with a right click and add an email to the side under false by selecting an action and choosing email. I'll fill the email out later. For now, I'll start at the top. Here, I need to tell the flow what form I want it to look for. In the next block, I need to tell it to actually pull the responses. I know it seems redundant, but to a computer it is not. Next, I need to click on the condition box in gray. This is where I'm going to tell it under what condition it needs to perform the next steps. On this first box, I'm selecting the FX or function button to tell it where in the form I want it to look. It defaults to this view in pink, which is for programmers. It can be difficult to decode, so I prefer to click the tab for Dynamic Content that you see just under the white box at the top. That shows me the actual content of the form the way I wrote it. From there, I find the question, is the student still using the assistive technology question, and select it. I am selecting the answer to be yes. Here's why. If the answer yes is true, then I want the flow to do nothing. If the answer yes is false, i.e. the answer is not yes, therefore it's no, then I want to be notified. If I put the answer no, it would create a double negative and do the opposite of what I want it to do here. That's why the system put the email originally on the true side at the beginning, because it had the answer as no. But it's easier for me to think about it without the double negative, so I'm setting it up this way. Now I'm ready to set up the email. I'm going to make it a very generic notification that tells me someone said, no, we're not using AT. Fill in the subject and the body. To make it easier for myself, I'm going to include a link to my form responses so I don't have to remember where I stored that. I will have it send the email to myself, but you can easily add others. Most importantly, I'm going to save my flow. Then I'm going to test it out. I'm going to fill out a form so that I get a response. I'm going to say this is about Betty Bobcat and my name is Shelley Seahorse. I'm going to make sure no, the student isn't using their AT is marked so that it will trigger the flow, because saying yes would mean the flow stops. Now that I submitted the form, you can see my customized submission received response, which includes a referral to our main page and a link to book time with me. They also have the chance to save their own responses so they can have the data as well. There's the ding that I received an email. Let's check it out. Yep, it looks to have worked. Now I can check my link to my spreadsheet. There is my response that said I was Shelley Seahorse. Now if I keep a spreadsheet where all of my other information on devices and students is kept, I can flip over to that sheet and reach out to that case manager. If I have a big list, I can use Control F or Command F to find the name that I'm looking for and get me directly to that line so that I can follow up with the students team. In the end, if they answer yes, everything is going well all year, then I have my data collected when it comes time to review the implementation plan with the next IEP. If they answer no, well, now I am notified and I have options on how to follow up with this. If it is something like text-to-speech like our sample here, maybe I'm referring them to our district's department support that handles UDL tools such as these. Or maybe I'm sending a demo video that our district has for this universal support that happens to be AT for this particular student. If it's something like AAC, perhaps I'm sending an email to book an on-site visit with my calendar. That depends on what your district structure is and how your department works. But at least I am aware of an issue as it arises on a regular basis, and hopefully this will help ensure implementation and address issues before they become a fire to put out. Did you learn anything here that can help your day run more smoothly? I sure hope so. Have a wonderful day.
Funding for this service is provided by the Bureau of Exceptional Student Education, Florida Department of Education. The inclusion of technologies in this library and/or described in this content should not be considered as an endorsement of any particular item or device. The instructional appropriateness of any of these technologies must be determined at the local level.